Now, the Nintendo Direct brought with it a lot of great announcements, and I think one that a lot of people got super excited for was finally The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and you can play it with traditional controls, you can play it with motion controls, you can play it however you want to. And while I wasn't surprised by the pricing of the game, it seems like a lot of people are up in arms over the fact that The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword will in fact be $59.99. Now, I don't know if a lot of people expected anything differently, but if Nintendo was going to release a standalone remastered game of an iconic franchise and a well-received game at that, it was pretty much certain that it was going to be a full $60. I haven't seen them really price things at $40, like even Wind Waker HD, when that was released on the Nintendo Wii U, that was a singular game of a really iconic title, and yes, it was at a full $50, I believe at the time, $60 or $50. But I definitely understand the cause for concern that a Skyward Sword is $60. I mean, this is a game that came out, back in 2010? And Nintendo Switch titles in general have had some questionable pricing. I did a video on Burnout Paradise Remastered, and that was priced at $50, so $10 less than Skyward Sword. But I think we can weigh the difference between Burnout Paradise and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Like, Burnout Paradise Remastered was a game that was already available on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and it was readily going for like $5 at the time on sale, and then it just came out on Switch and it was going for $50, and now you can see Burnout Paradise. I believe it was just on sale on the eShop, or it still might be on sale, and it was like $15. Look, I'm not Nostradamus or anything like that, but I don't think Skyward Sword 6 months after release is gonna be down to $15. I don't know if that's a hot take, but with Burnout Paradise Remastered, I think I was justified in saying that that game is overpriced, or was overpriced. With Skyward Sword, it's a little bit more complicated. Not to say it's not overpriced. I mean, you can certainly make the argument, and let me add a little bit more fuel to the fire. As pointed out by a lot of people, on the Nintendo Wii U eShop, you can buy The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for $20. Now, the Switch version is also coming with it, a lot of improvements, but what's hilarious to me is that this is a game that came out 10 years ago for $50, and now 10 years later, we're paying $10 more for the same game on the Nintendo Switch. Upgraded, mind you, but I did find that a little bit humorous. Now, I don't remember what Wind Waker launched at, but hey, if that launched at $40 and then the Wii U version was $50, I mean, that holds true as well. And Skyward Sword definitely is seeing a couple of enhancements. I saw some funny comparisons on social media, people talking about, wow, the Demon's Souls remake, look at the visual improvements that made, and it was $70. We paid $10 more, but look at all these visual improvements, and this Nintendo remaster is $60. But I don't think people were up in arms with Skyward Sword getting a complete visual overhaul. I don't think that's why people really wanted that game on the Switch. I think people wanted an easy and accessible way to play a great Zelda game, and to play it without the same motion controls if they wanted to. At $60, let's just face reality. I know that there's a lot of people complaining on social media, there's comments everywhere and things of that nature, but this is a business, and you have to look at it from Nintendo's viewpoint. They're gonna price it at the level of what the demand is, and if they think people are gonna buy it at $60, they're gonna price it at $60, and spoiler alert, people are gonna buy it for $60. Am I saying that it's absolutely worth $60? No, not necessarily. I mean, if you look at what $60 can get you on a sale or on other platforms, you can absolutely make the argument it shouldn't be $60 from a value standpoint, but from a business standpoint, from Nintendo's side of things, dude, this is gonna sell incredibly well. People are gonna buy it. I don't think if it was $40, people would have this gigantic, overwhelming desire to buy the game instead of it being $60. If you're interested in Skyward Sword, you're gonna buy it at $60. At least the majority of people. Think about it this way: if they priced it at $40, they would have to make it up in sales numbers to justify the lesser price of $20. Do you actually think lowering the price by $20 is gonna increase sales numbers to make up the difference? Maybe it would. I have a very, very hard time believing that, and studies have been done on things like subscription services, pay-per-views, on whether or not if you increase the price, does that lower the buy rate, or people buying, or people subscribing? And general consensus is, if that hindsight was 2020, things like Netflix would have launched at a higher price point, and a lot of things would have launched at a higher price point. That's why we see subscription services, they get you in the door at a low price point, and slowly, I just got an email from Netflix, they're raising my Netflix subscription. And that's why Nintendo games in particular have always had this aura of these games are worth $60, because rarely do they lessen the value of the game. More recently with Nintendo Switch first-party titles, yeah, they'll go on sale. They'll be like $15 to $20 off. If you look at PlayStation, if you look at Xbox, you look at PC, from other publishers, those games go on sale very, very quickly. You're talking about a game like Immortals Phoenix Rising being $30 a month after release. You're even talking about games from Microsoft being accessible in a $10 a month subscription service. Sony games do hold up in value a little bit longer than the aforementioned things, but not as long as Nintendo. And with Nintendo pricing things higher, I know this might be a little bit of a crazy phenomenon to accept, but they have that aura of, oh, it's a Nintendo game, that means it's worth of high value, and they can keep those prices high. Mario Collection was $60, it included 3 games. I mean, value-wise, we're looking at that thinking that's crazy with Nintendo's release of Skyward Sword at $60. I agree. If you compare it to other remasters, remake, I mean, the Mass Effect trilogy is releasing at $60. 3 games with a ton of DLC, and it's the same price as Zelda Skyward Sword. Value-wise, which one is the better purchase? I think the majority of people would agree that the Mass Effect Collection is the better value purchase, but it's because it's a Nintendo release, it's because it has that aura, they can get away with pricing it at $60, and from a sales standpoint, from a business standpoint, I guarantee you by the end of the year, when we look back and we talk about Skyward Sword sales numbers and things of that nature, it will have done very well. And I also guarantee you this, it's not gonna be $20, $25 by the time December rolls around, because Nintendo is like, oh my god, Skyward Sword is not selling that well, we should lower the price and it's gonna sell more. Yes, lowering the price is gonna make it sell more, but it also, in another world, implants the idea that these games are gonna get lowered in price very quickly, thus lessening the desire to buy the game on day one. That is absolutely a thing, and I've noticed that with Ubisoft titles, that recently a lot of people have started to realize, oh, Immortals is going to be on sale, it's a Ubisoft game. Oh, Watch Dogs is going to be on sale really quickly. Oh, Assassin's Creed is going to be on sale really quickly, and some of those games, Assassin's Creed in particular, still did very well from a commercial standpoint out the gate. Immortals Phoenix Rising seemingly didn't do that hot, and Watch Dogs Legion seemingly didn't do that hot. I don't know exact, how much money was put into producing those titles and things like that. But my concluding statement is that yes, if you compare it to other remasters, other games that are priced at $60 from a value standpoint, is it worth $60? Probably not. Are people still gonna end up buying it for $60 in masses and droves? I mean, I'm probably inclined to say most definitely this is gonna sell millions. And at the end of the day, it is a business, and that's why I try to not get too worked up over things like this anymore. Yeah, you can get worked up on microtransactions in NBA 2K, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and if people are buying it, I mean, that's on the people that are buying it. But in the case of Skyward Sword, I think it's going to be a lot of people that are upset about the $60 price point, but it's Zelda, it's Skyward Sword, people are going to end up buying it anyway. Maybe I'm off the money. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Definitely a lot of varying opinions in regards to this, and maybe I'm completely off the money and some of you guys will enlighten me a little bit and make me think a little bit differently. But sound off in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.